everyone, Shirley here. Welcome to today's discussion about technologies that are reshaping the competitive landscape for federal contractors. I have long touted to my clients that making data-driven decisions is critically important. And fortunately, in the federal marketplace, there's a lot of publicly available information about past, current, and future procurement activity. And then there's human intelligence, culled from discussions with employees, customers, suppliers, and partners. Some would say too much data is available. In my experience, it's not the volume of data that is available that is the challenge. It is making sense of that data for your company, your business model, and your goals that is challenging. To help me get a grip on these important issues regarding analyzing and taking action on federal market data is my guest today, Kevin Brancato, Senior Vice President of Product Strategy for Technomile. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Shirley. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Please tell our audience a little about your background and your role at Technomile.
I joined Technomile in July as Senior Vice President of Product Strategy. At Technomile, we deploy cloud technologies to help federal contractors manage the processes of capture and contracts management. It's my job to figure out where we need to take the product next. I bring to the role 10 years of helping federal contractors win more work, writing opportunity analyses, making strategic briefings, and analyzing data for federal contractors large and small. I managed content, data, and product teams, focusing on accelerating our clients' growth. Before that, I spent 10 years at RAND, studying the costs of weapons programs and the military personnel system. I want to analyze. So apologies to our listeners if I'm a little wonkier than the usual guest.
Now, we love wonkiness around here, Kevin, so you're very welcome. Let's begin by discussing why this topic is important, especially to small federal contractors.
Sure. Let's break this down. Government contractors have a critical information advantage, but very few are exploiting it. It is critical that companies set up and run capture processes to take advantage of and monetize the market intelligence their teams are acquiring. Let's say you lead business development or capture for a small or medium-sized federal contractor. Your federal agency clients love your professionalism and your prices. And while your business is thriving, you want to dramatically increase growth. How do you grow? What do you do?
Kevin, these are the questions that my clients often ask me. I have developed over the last 25 years a structured, disciplined framework called DAVIE, D-A-V-I-E. The first 3 steps of the 6-step process involves gathering, analyzing, and making decisions on objective market data. How do you see emerging technologies making this process easier?
Well, for years I've been writing about strategic trends in the federal marketplace, and I've researched individual opportunities ranging from $10 million to $10 billion. What I learned the hard way from sitting behind a desk is that the expert local knowledge, including information culled from personal relationships developed by capture professionals, is irreplaceable. There's a lot of publicly available procurement data that can be very valuable, but it is going to be very broad. That data is supplemented by the knowledge that capture and business development teams have collected. For example, about the real importance of a specific requirement, or an evaluation criterion, or which resellers' products are actually preferred, or even which service providers are highest rated. All businesses have critical sales information that, in the near future, will be put through natural language processing, creating structured data that can then be put into machine learning models to develop recommendations and predictions about opportunities, customers, and partners, which will more easily be discovered using artificial intelligence. Now, the government contracting industry is at a pivotal point in how business development will be performed. Technology has just begun changing federal capture management processes for businesses of all sizes throughout the marketplace. This change will happen for all companies, whether you sell supplies, hardware, software, weapons, parts, systems, services, or butts and seats. It doesn't matter if you are small or large.
Okay, let's talk about some of these changes and how business development in the marketplace will be performed.
Well, it seems that only just yesterday, formal capture processes were for the biggest deals only. A huge amount of time was spent on research. And while historical contracts and opportunity data was available for bulk download, it took a big effort to get it into useful form. And expertise, locked in the brains of experts, was shared in color team reviews. The largest companies had war rooms where all the information was posted on walls where decisions are made. But today, formal but streamlined capture management processes are the norm across most successful federal contractors. A larger number of opportunities are put into the funnel than before. Online tools have become much better, providing data as you need it, including predictions about opportunity features such as value, RFP date, and a calculated win probability. More critically, though, senior business development professionals have become a key differentiator that has allowed strategic leaders to push ahead. Today, we are seeing those very same senior professionals investing in the technology that will shape the future of capture management. And this is where I pull up my crystal ball. In the near future, even junior capture professionals will have at their fingertips automated predictions, forecasts, trends, and recommendations. Systems will be in place to evaluate almost all opportunities. Powering this future will be the very data generated by your capture process, and even more importantly, your contracts management processes. Data will be democratized. I expect to see smaller federal contractors and individual team members having far greater responsibility than today. This is not a fantasy world. This is the beginning of what I call the Capture Cloud.
Kevin, before we get into your definition of a capture cloud, I want to parse a few of the concepts you just mentioned. There are many tools in the marketplace now that provide reports, market analyses, forecasts, and trends. In what ways will these emerging technologies differ?
That's a great question, Shirley. The data that you see in the tools today is cleansed, organized, and improved. There are even machine learning models that are being used to estimate characteristics of opportunities, predict the probability of winning, and make recommendations. But these tools can only build a model and make a forecast using the data that is in their system, the public data. Your private data, all your wins and losses, all the insider information you have acquired, can be used to make much better predictions of which opportunities your team members should really pursue. Think of it like this. You have a business developer on your team that started 3 years ago. Over time, her average deal size has increased from $100,000 to $1 million. To make a solid recommendation about an opportunity that this business developer should pursue requires individualized information about her wins and losses that are inside of your Capture Cloud. This data, the trending of the deals won and lost by the individual business developer, is absolutely critical to a recommendation engine.
That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned that contracts management processes will be transformed. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Today, the largest federal contractors are creating a contract's source of truth that gives their contracting teams a complete view of federal contracts, sets up rule-based approval processes, eases data entry, and simplifies reporting, all inside of a secure cloud environment. Using modern systems, contracting professionals can summarize, track, and get alerts on contracts or subcontracts using any field, including contract clause, customer, business segment, value, or contract type. And they are using that data to assess risk in real time. Every step of the contracts management process has its own unique government requirements, information to be captured and tracked, reports and briefings created and submitted, and workflows that must be followed. Federal contractors must follow every contract clause, standard or modified, on every federal contract. Non-compliance can risk future growth.
Oh, I agree. Small businesses especially really struggle with contract management. Kevin, we need to take a break. I'm talking to Kevin Brancato, Senior Vice President of Product Strategy at Technomile, about emerging technologies that will transform how federal business development is performed. When we come back, we'll talk about the Capture Cloud. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This Growthmasters Federal presentation is hosted by Shirley Collier, President and founder of Scale to Market. Scale to Market helps businesses think, plan, collaborate, and build market value by developing and executing customized data-driven business development playbooks, building efficient information systems, and creating high-performing BD teams. Utilizing the proprietary Davy Business Development Growth Framework, Scale to Market partners with business owners and executives to increase their company's value by achieving profitable and sustainable growth in the federal marketplace. Email Shirley at scollier@scaletomarket.com to learn more about the Davy Growth Framework and how it can be instrumental in helping grow your federal contracting business. Back now to Shirley's conversation with Kevin Brancato, Senior Vice President of Product Strategy with Technomile, as they discuss emerging technologies that can enhance federal business development.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing contract management processes. I want to turn our attention now to the concept of a Capture Cloud. Can you elaborate on that, Kevin?
We are planning for a future where business development planning and capture are a lot easier. We've developed a 4-step blueprint for creating a capture cloud that organizations can follow. Step 1, ingest, clean, connect, and personalize public data. Make that data useful to your organization. Make sure you understand how agencies put money on contracts in your marketplace. Learn the budget process and contract vehicles they use. Many companies already use large amounts of public data, whether from the original sources, such as FPDS or SAM, or through a third party that enhances the data. You need this data to answer questions through every step of the capture process. Step 2, set up your business with processes and tools for opportunity and contracts management. Capture management produces a huge amount of contextual information about what it takes for you or your competitors to win an opportunity. Sure, this critical intel is in the brains of employees, but more importantly, it is documented digitally in emails, call notes, color team reports, debriefings, and memos. If such information is not organized in a software tool, you're going to lose it. I am amazed by the number of companies that can't even retain statements of work for $100 million task orders that they've bid on and won.
I agree, Kevin. Many companies use a number of tools to capture this information, but it's scattered among a variety of apps and is not easily accessible to analyze.
And the tools are specific to the team and process being followed. There are many companies that use one tool to find opportunities, another tool to track the budget or programs, another for competitive intelligence and strategy, and a fourth tool to assist in the development of proposals. The information is scattered everywhere with no central repository because most of these tools require you to store data on a proprietary system or even on your desktop.
And then there is the discipline of the BD folks actually entering the data into the system to begin with. How do you think this should be addressed?
There are already some general technologies to assist in this area. Additional work will be needed to figure out how to get them to best fit into the daily life of a business developer, though. For example, speech-to-text software has gotten uncannily good, even without having to train a system to recognize a voice. Today, my phone can, out of the box, annotate up to a 10-minute interview in real time. I imagine that this can be channeled into a capture cloud rather easily. Furthermore, there are e-ink tablets now that feel like paper and can immediately upload your written notes to a secure cloud, recognize, and turn into electronic notes what you've written.
Oh, I love that. So you gave us step 1 and step 2 for creating a capture cloud. What is step 3?
Step 3, link that public data with your private data. This is where critical business intel is created. Which opportunities are in the far horizon that meet the company's capabilities? Where are the gaps in the company's offering that need to be rectified? Who is the best person to be leading a capture team? What is my real probability of winning? These questions are asked and answered right now. But this correlation engine is in the brains of senior capture professionals, and answers to their questions are very costly to create. These graybeards have had the experience to match the public data with insights derived from internal private analytics, but that can now be performed in the Capture Cloud. Step 4. The real improvement is what will happen tomorrow. The last step towards a modern Capture Cloud is to provide such public and private intelligence to all capture professionals in an organization. You can think of it as an extension of the capture process, where more advanced questions are asked and answered about each opportunity. Or you can think of AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, as new members of your capture teams, quickly providing quantitative estimates and qualitative guidance for human capture professionals to assess, instead of the senior BD professional being the only person who can formulate questions and get answers to strategic questions. Technologies such as AI and ML will scan through the melding of public and private data troves, asking questions and providing answers at scale.
I love this, Kevin. It's especially important for small contractors because they don't often have access to senior business development professionals. So let's talk about how this plays out practically. Many companies already use decision matrices, so how will artificial intelligence tools take this effort to the next level?
Before you can do anything, you need to turn all that unstructured data, again, the notes, documents, interview transcripts, into structured data automatically and at high levels of accuracy. And the more data, the cleaner the data, the better your answer. Once you have your public data and private data into sensible structures, you can start asking it questions that will help your business. I put these questions into two buckets, quantitative and qualitative.
Explain what you mean by that, Kevin.
Well, if you need a number, you're asking for a quantitative prediction. If you want a recommendation, you're asking for a qualitative prediction. And quantitative or prediction models can make initial, essential calculations automatically, including, for example, opportunity value and date figures, a pursuit budget estimate, market or revenue forecasts, P-win and P-go predictions, even pre-filled charts for review briefings. On the other side, qualitative or recommendation models can help you pay attention to what matters, including opportunities you may have missed, customers, teammates, or competitors to look out for, contacts, new markets, potential capture team members that should be in a different role maybe.
Kevin, companies collect a lot of data after they have won a contract and are executing on it. What role do you expect artificial intelligence to play in analyzing and taking action on that data?
You really have to figure out what kind of risk or opportunity you want the AI to tell you about. Every contract has a set of criteria, including cost type, ceiling value, customer, market segment, length, and security requirements. Many contracts share several criteria, and together they provide a valuable data set. A new contract can be analyzed in the context of previous contracts that share some of their characteristics. For example, a contractor that wants to assess risks of a contract at a customer for a given product could compare it to all similar but not identical previous products. Or previous contracts could be for a different product at the same customer or the same product at a different customer.
As someone who uses a lot of data in my daily activities, Kevin, I find this very exciting. Any last words of advice for our audience as they contemplate using these emerging technologies?
Most companies let a few short-term fires smolder while they're focused on growth. A large number of contractors are focused on critical, shorter-term actions such as hiring and payroll, human resources, delivery and execution, compliance, partnering, closing known deals, because these are the problems that demand attention today. For many contractors, growth is not an immediate, red light, glaring problem that needs to be solved. It's my experience that even the most thoughtful, forward-looking organizations do not have a growth mindset. These emerging tools will help companies focus on growth, which is a long-term strategic objective.
I agree, Kevin. Most companies desire to grow, and that's what I help them do. I can see that these new software capabilities will make that process a little easier in the future. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with our audience today.
It's been my pleasure, Shirley.
Folks, if you would like to get in touch with Kevin, he can be reached at kevin.brancato, and that's BRANCATO, at technomile.com. Or you can reach out to us here at Scale to Market, and we'll make sure you're connected. This is Shirley Collier, President of Scale to Market and host of the Growth Masters Federal Podcast, signing off for now. As we close, I want to thank you for joining us today and encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn and visit our website, that's scaletomarket.com with the number 2 in the middle, where you will find our library of podcasts, webcasts, white papers, my blog, and other links and resources. While there, please leave us a comment or suggestion so we can stay focused on what's important to you. We'll see you next time.